Hello, hello. I know I promised with the mango one that that was the last 2017 list, but I did say specifically 2017 list before we completely close the book on last year. I want to do one final kind of retrospective video on the whole year. I think overall it was a pretty good year in my life. I feel pretty happy with a lot of the very major changes that happened. Of course, not everything can be perfect, but I wanted to highlight kind of three areas of development that I've had and talk about how I'm feeling about them and stuff. This is more just kind of like a video diary than anything, but it's kind of nice to have these things, and years from now I can look back at this and kind of see where I was at. So the first one I want to talk about is Japanese, Nihongo. So I failed the N4. Yes, I did. I wish I could say that it was a shock and that I feel like I ought to have passed, but no. I took it way too lightly. I didn't study enough. I didn't do enough mock exams. And I explained a lot of this in the initial aftermath video that I wanted it to be easy. I have this problem where instead of being willing to work really hard at something and to overcome a difficult obstacle, I would rather have the sense of mastery immediately and to just do something easy and to feel accomplished because of that. And it's a really bad, poisonous attitude that I've had to kind of fight down in many different fields. Um, but like I said, this is supposed to be a positive video. So putting aside that piece of unfortunate news, not even really that bad news though. Like when I think about it, either way, I want to move on to the higher grades anyways. Like I'd like to write the N3 at the end of this year. So sometime during this year, I'm going to have to do an amount of studying that's made my previous amount of studying look pathetic and really kind of buckle down and embrace the challenge of this and do it. So the fact that I failed, even if I had passed, I would want to have the same feeling that I have now. I would want to feel as determined to move ahead anyways. So it's not so bad. Um, and like I said, I think thinking about it in another way, I think one of the big problems with this problem I have of wanting everything to be easy and only feeling kind of comfortable with things when they're easy is that it's very hard to recognize achievement on the other side of that because I kind of think about it conversely, and then when I am uh, on the other side of some task, when I have done something, I assume that it must have been easy because I had done it, which is kind of backwards and awful. Um, Even if that's how I genuinely feel, it can become like pretty diminishing, I think. And it's gotten to the point where, like, I think Japanese is a good example. Rationally, I know I actually know much more Japanese than the average white person. But because of this sort of complex, it's to the point where if I like misspeak while practicing, I get like really ashamed and nervous that somehow someone is going to call me out on mixing up my conjugation or something, as if like some stranger on the street will just happen to know Japanese, or like my colleagues at work that I know don't know Japanese. I still feel this like deep sense of insecurity and shame. Whereas really, I've actually progressed so much further than that. And that, you know, I don't know. So, like, okay, so let's just try to think objectively about what I've been able to achieve in Japanese. I think it's quite a bit this year. At the start of the year, I knew like vocabulary that I had like picked up from anime, just doing things in the habit of like repeating a word if I hear it and then I know what it means. I would sometimes just like say it out loud, usually just to bug my friends that I was watching anime with. Um, I knew some kanji from helping my one friend learn kanji when he was like seriously learning Japanese before he went over to teach there. but I had forgotten most of them. And then I knew the kanji really well that were used in Mahjong, and that's about it. So like numbers 1 through 9 and the four cardinal directions and the dragons and stuff. My grammar was like non-existent. I still have a hard time with grammar, but it's like I have a hard time conjugating the right verb form. Whereas before I had a hard time understanding anything that wasn't the structure of like blank wa blank des. um, so this is all areas of significant improvement because like for kanji, I was just looking this up now. I don't actually know the total, but I've been using that kanji study app, which is fantastic because it makes learning kanji easy. It turns it into kind of a game. And on this phone, my old phone, I've logged 26 hours and 47 minutes of kanji study. And then on my new phone, I've put in 26 hours and 38 minutes. That's actually surprisingly close. So in total, that's what, 50 something. Oh my god, never try to do math on TV. Yeah, 52. Oh my god, why did it take me so long? 52, 53, I guess, with the minutes. 53 hours spent this year studying kanji, and that's gotten me through all of the elementary ones. I feel pretty solid in recognizing all of them, and then moving on to secondary one, I'm about 2/3 of the way through that. So I would estimate 240, 440, 640. It's 7, 8, wait, 640, 820, 1,000. I'd say I know like 1,200, which is crazy. Of course, I don't know enough compounds and readings and stuff to actually make sense of things, but I can pick out a hell of a lot of kanji and like random text and stuff. And often that does get you a good enough understanding of what something means. Well, maybe using a very lenient definition of good enough. But still, I'm very happy with that. And my vocabulary and my knowledge of compounds and stuff has exploded compared to the year before. I don't know if this is a good rate. I don't know if it's as fast as other people or if it's as fast as it could have been, but just to know that I had put so many hours in, probably in total, like I took 3 classes last year, and each of those was like maybe 24 hours in class, and then maybe I spent another, I'd say maybe half an hour on average per class studying. So that's what, 24 times 3 is 72 plus maybe another 6. Say maybe like a 90 hours in classroom stuff. Does that seem right? Yeah. 52. I'd probably guess I spent about 150 hours on Japanese this year. Which is pretty good, I think. That's an amount I'm proud of. That's time that I feel was well spent developing this skill that I really want to have. And that's like probably about the amount of time that I would spend on like a Disgaea game or something. Actually, that's probably on the lower estimate of what I would spend on a Disgaea game. So basically, instead of playing Disgaea 5, which I could have gotten pretty early on in this year, I spent that time on Japanese instead. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Everything else inside, failing the N4 aside, you know, what progress I made or didn't make, times I skipped my homework, all of that aside, I'm still proud. I'm still proud of myself. So that's good. But it's hard, man. Like, I wish I could spend more time on it. I wish I could spend more time on everything. But I can't because of job. So this year I got my first like proper job. Before that, I had worked co-op terms for my undergraduate degree for like 4-month periods. And that feels very, very different. I had worked part-time as a tutor before. Again, just not the same as going into an office at 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday every day, leaving at 4:30, unless I have to stay late, which happens sometimes, and just having that in perpetuita to just be doing that for the foreseeable future. It is a weird, weird, weird feeling. I was terrified of what it would be like before I did it. I was terrified that the job itself would be too hard, whatever it was, that it would be too mentally draining, that I would come home exhausted. And I'm relieved to report that that's not usually the case. There are nights where I am really exhausted and it's a struggle to do like my hobbies, to work on writing or to make YouTube videos or whatever. And that things that I used to kind of take for granted as chores that I can just kind of knock off whenever, laundry, dishes, groceries, things like that, now suddenly seem like much more of an investment, suddenly seem like they're major competitors to my valuable free time rather than just kind of the almost enjoyable, I'll do this whenever tasks they were before. The whole meaning of weekends has changed so much to me. And now it's like this, they feel so precious because they're so powerful. The feeling I get when it's like 2 p.m. on Saturday and I've already done a bunch of stuff and it's only 2 p.m. and I can do like 3 more fun activities, it just feels like unreal, the amount of time that's contained within a given weekend. Which makes it all the more painful when I like lose a weekend to like aforementioned chores or some obligation or something. And it's caused me to become much more guarded with my time and much more concerned about how I prioritize things and what really matters to me. Um, the job itself, like, I'm really happy with it. I wanted to work for the federal government, and now I am, so that's great. They're a great employer, great benefits, great pension, great job security, and just great people too. That I really do get along with all of my coworkers, and I feel very, very lucky and blessed to be in that case and into that, because I know that that's what really makes or breaks a job is your coworkers. So I'm very reluctant to even consider leaving, but at the same time, I don't know. I made this little chart. So, uh, where's my chart? Okay, so when I got hired, it was to staff on a short-term basis the executive assistant position for the Director General of Human Resources at our agency. And I would rate that here on the stress scale and on the money. So I've got the money scale and the stress scale. So I did that for a little bit, the student version of the job, knowing that the full-time inhabitant or executive assistant, the person who normally inhabits that spot, would be back after like, I think it was like a month. So it was kind of a limited version of it that we put off a lot of parts of the job until she returned. And then once she returned, I moved on to scanning, and I got a pay bump because I was no longer just a student, but I was actually part of the staff. Um, and scanning, I just digitized old files and stuff, and it was kind of just like a stopgap between that and getting me a position doing staffing in human resources. So scanning and staffing both were like pretty low stress, pretty low key, very straightforward what I was tasked with. None of my tasks were like that complex or whatever. It was just kind of doing what was being asked of me. And I quite enjoyed that. And when I did staffing, it was even more money. Um, the money thing isn't really accurate. It accelerates with this last one. So my last promotion was to take over the EA position on like a full time uh, basis for at least the next 2 years until March 2019. So the money went way up, but as you can see, the stress also skyrocketed because basically the hardest parts of the job were the ones that they were kind of saving me from on my first stint doing it. And now they're here in full force, and oh my lord, sometimes I just feel like paralyzed with the amount of work ahead of me and the impact that I know it has and the precision that it requires. And here I'm talking stuff about like keeping track of the budget and like making sure contracts are what we expected them to be and following up on things. Uh, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, man. I just came back from work. I don't want to talk about it at much depth. But I do, I don't know. Like you can see, I tried to put it like right below the too much stress line. Um, like it's not too much. I'm still able to do it, and it varies the intensity and the amount of stress. Lately, it's been pretty bad, but that's because of a lot of kind of extraordinary external circumstances. So I don't know. Most of the time, I think I can handle it. But you can see that even when I started as a student, I was over the enough money line. Like, sure, it's great that I can kind of just buy books whenever I feel like it, even if they're big German novels that I'll probably never read, or buy stupid Gucci shoes that I'm never gonna wear outside and stuff like that. But I could have been fine even at lowest amount of money. So like maybe this was the sweet spot. Maybe I should have just stopped here, but they couldn't actually staff this position permanently, so I felt like I wanted that job security. I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot to think about, but I mean overall it's good because before I hit this point, I was definitely below the enough money line and was just kind of scraping by on the generosity of my parents and what have you. So I'm happy to be over this line, but I just need to find the sweet spot and you know, trying to understand that about these sort of metrics. And then also another metric, which is my actual respect for my job and my pride in the impact I'm able to have. Like I, I'm worried about it and I'm stressed out about aspects of it, but it seems like I'm doing a good job. Like everyone seems to be happy with my performance, and that makes me genuinely happy. Um, and moreover, I felt like the aspect of it that I'm best at, and this is a fairly major aspect, is just communicating with my boss. So an executive assistant um, is an assistant to an executive, of course. So a big part of my job is meeting with her on a regular basis, and then sometimes for like upwards of an hour, just discussing with her what needs to be done, how we're going to go about it, being able to recall quickly information that she's looking for, being able to provide kind of the logistical details of suggestions she's making, and then making notes to myself of what work actually needs to be done on my end once she's made her decision. So I feel like making these YouTube videos has actually prepared me really well for this aspect of the job. That if I wasn't already very used to just speaking for sometimes hours at end about whatever happens to come up in the next manga page, I don't know if I would have had the stamina to keep up with these meetings, to be able to go in there day after day and kind of perform at this level. So I guess thanks for that. The support of the YouTube channel and of the community that's kind of blossomed around it. It's kept me motivated to keep doing it, and then in turn has made me good and confident at my job, or at least aspects of it. But doesn't that seem backwards? Like the reason that I have this enough money line is because I don't want to be an executive. I don't want oodles and oodles of money. I just want enough money that I can live comfortably and do my hobbies and do the things that I really care about, like making videos or writing, you know? Um, so the fact that I'm saying that making videos is making me better at my job just seems like I've become indoctrinated, that it's all topsy-turvy. But I don't know. That's just the situation we're in. And who knows where my career is going to go. Hopefully this will go down. Maybe this needs to go down with it. Anyways, let's talk about the YouTube channel, since we were just kind of talking about it. Here's some stats. We gained 429 subscribers in the last year, We went up 720, but then 291 left. I don't think that's like really great growth compared to most channels, I would imagine. But to me, I'm very, very happy with that. That's like a lot of people. That's mind-boggling to me that I can make this extremely selfish content where I'm literally just kind of doing whatever I want and I don't really make at all an effort in any of the ways that I notice other people doing. I don't do custom thumbnails. Well, for one, for Dr. Stone, I'm doing them now, but that's out of necessity. I've been really bad about responding to comments, and I feel bad about that. I really like reading comments, but I wish I had the time to just kind of set aside a chunk of my day to actually respond to them because people leave really nice comments, really well thought out stuff. Also some stupid comments, but whatever. That's just a sign to me that I've made it. When people leave stupid comments, that makes me happy too. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I don't really do that. Um, I upload all sorts of just like random garbage that I feel like uploading. Like, what is this video? Nobody asked for this. I just felt like doing it. And the fact that despite that, I still went up 429 subscribers is just like stunning to me and really makes me very, very happy, I guess. If that doesn't sound really stupid and arrogant. Like, on the one hand, I can't act like, oh, I'm just doing this for myself. I'm doing this because I find it fun. And then on the other hand, become really, really happy when I see the numbers go up. Like, if that makes me happy, then shouldn't I be trying a little harder to make those numbers go up? But it's a confusing situation. To me, the number is just a signification that there are people like me out there. That there are 429 people that overlap at least slightly with my personality and are interested in what I have to say and why I have to say it. That is like really encouraging and motivating on a very, very basic level. That it just makes the world seem like a little nicer. Oh, this sounds really egotistical too. How do I word this? It just makes me feel less lonely, I guess. So that's great. That's great. We uploaded 840-ish videos. This is a rough calculation by going through pages of videos and stuff. Um, I think it's probably a little less than this, but whatever. So that's like roughly one subscriber per two videos, or one subscriber. Yeah, one subscriber per two videos ish. That's all right. I'm fine with that rate, but it's probably a lot lower than most channels. And one time we hit 128 days of consecutive upload. So that's something I'm proud of too, is the amount of work that I put into this channel. Even though, again, this is something where I went into it wanting it to be easy and kind of going about it in the way that was like easiest to me. And again, I still think that's a weakness, and that if I was able to kind of have the self-sacrifice and diligence to do things that more popular channels do, like edit videos, engage with the community, custom thumbnails, whatever, maybe I'd be doing even better and be even happier. But regardless, I'm not going to let myself like imposter syndrome my way out of feeling some pride in the amount of work that I did put in. I uploaded a lot of videos. I just kept doing it. I Some days I wasn't really looking forward to it. Some days I felt like I just had to. But inevitably, once I started, maybe after the first few minutes, I would be into it. I would want to keep going. And I think I'm improving. I don't know, like if I look back at some of my older videos, I feel like I used to be kind of more awkward. I wasn't really sure what to say sometimes. I wasn't really sure what kind of humor to use. I was more self-conscious about recording myself. So I think in a lot of ways that I am just like naturally getting more used to this and more comfortable. Whether or not that's actually leading to better videos from the perspective of the viewer, I have no idea, but it's making me have more and more fun with it as I do it. Um, it's really been a great hobby, I think, like something that seems meaningful without ever betraying my otaku-ish kind of out of sync with normal society intentions and passions and goals, right? Like I don't I don't gain any social capital by doing this. This isn't something that I'm gonna go around and brag to people that I'm doing, or that I'm gonna try to leverage to make myself look good for like a raise or something. Um, but and yet it still feels like very meaningful to me, and I never feel in doubt of like, oh my God, am I just like wasting my time or something? Um, and special shout outs to the people that sent me gifts. Like that more than anything really makes me feel this way. When I think of the fact that I actually have manga on my shelves, I have books sent to me in the mail for making these videos. It's still just the craziest thing to me. And just thank you so much. I got to meet a fan. That's so cool. That I never ever would have guessed that that would happen. I would have imagined that I would have to compromise like 50 times to get to a point where things like that were happening. But I feel so encouraged and so happy about the fact that I didn't, that I could just keep doing whatever I wanted and having as much fun as I could and still get to this point. So I don't know. I don't know what the future of the channel is. I'm just gonna keep doing whatever. Like that's that's worked well enough to this point, so I have no reason to stop. Um, I don't know. How did I get 10 subscribers on one day? What did I do that day? June 16th, June 18th. What happened on June 18th? I'll try to investigate. Conversely, what the hell did I do on November 12th that made everyone decide to pack up and leave? Excuse me. Yeah, so that was the YouTube channel. Um, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just these three things. Kind of major elements of my life last year that weren't as major before. Like I've been doing the YouTube channel for a while, but I definitely took it a lot more seriously this year. I feel like my immediate goal with YouTube, and I've stated this in several videos, is I want to recreate like every type of content on YouTube on this one channel. I want to look at like every genre of video and try it, just for fun. So let me know what your favorite YouTube genres are, and I'll have to give them a go. Um, yeah, I don't know. This was a pretty unstructured video, but it's just like these didn't really come up in the other lists, so I kind of felt like talking about them. Anyways, let's have a good 2018. And we'll read a lot more manga together. My rice is done. Okay, see ya.